There are some movies that instantly transport you back in time. Movies that feel like an old photograph, slightly faded, but still full of warmth and memory. For many people around the world, The Gods Must Be Crazy is exactly that film. Released in 1980, this quirky South African comedy about a Coke bottle falling from the sky somehow managed to charm millions of people, even though it was made on a shoestring budget, with an unknown cast, and in a part of the world that most audiences had never even seen before. It's a movie that feels simple on the surface, but behind the scenes, the story of how it was made is just as fascinating, and in some ways, even stranger than the film itself. So today, let's take a nostalgic trip back and uncover 10 behind-the-scenes secrets you probably never knew about The Gods Must Be Crazy. 1. A budget so small it almost didn't happen. Big Hollywood blockbusters in the 1980s were swimming in money. The Empire Strikes Back had a budget of around $30 million. Raiders of the Lost Ark about $20 million. But The Gods Must Be Crazy? It was made for just $2 million. That's right, $2 million to cover everything. The crew, the cameras, the actors, the locations, and even the dangerous encounters with wild animals. The director, Jamie Uys, knew he couldn't compete with Hollywood's special effects or big-name stars, so instead he leaned into what he had. Real landscapes, ordinary people, and a story that felt refreshingly original. And here's the kicker. Despite its tiny budget, the movie went on to make over $200 million worldwide. That means every dollar invested brought back about $100 in return. For an indie project shot in the deserts of southern Africa, that's practically a miracle. 2. The star, who had never acted before. At the heart of the film is She, the gentle hunter from the Kalahari Desert, who stumbles upon a Coke bottle that changes everything. But the actor behind him, Inksao Toma, wasn't an actor at all. He was a Namibian farmer who lived a simple, traditional lifestyle and had never even seen a movie before. Imagine that, stepping onto a set without ever knowing what acting was supposed to look like. Jamie Uys discovered him and immediately saw something magical, an innocence and natural charm that couldn't be taught in film school. Insao's performance became iconic, not because it was polished, but because it felt so real. When audiences laughed at his confusion with the Coke bottle or rooted for him on his strange journey, it wasn't just acting, it was authenticity. 3. Communication was a challenge. Of course, there was one big problem. Insao didn't speak English or Afrikaans, which were the main languages of the crew. That meant every scene had to be carefully explained without words. Jamie Uys often resorted to literally acting out the scenes himself, showing Inksao how to move, what to do, and how to react. It wasn't the fastest way to film, but it worked. And in a strange way, that lack of verbal communication gave the film an even more universal quality. Audiences around the world didn't need to understand Insao language to connect with him. His gestures, his expressions, and his childlike innocence spoke louder than words ever could. 4. The legendary Coke bottle. The entire plot kicks off when a glass Coke bottle falls from an airplane into the Kalahari. To She and his people, it seems like a gift from the gods, but it quickly causes jealousy, fighting, and chaos. In real life, the Coke bottle itself was just a simple prop, but it became a symbol far bigger than the film. The production team used a real glass bottle, which meant they had to be extra careful. The desert landscapes were rocky, and one bad drop could shatter their most important prop. And there's something poetic here. A mass-produced piece of modern consumer culture becoming the centerpiece of a story about innocence, greed, and the clash between worlds. Even today, people remember The Gods Must Be Crazy as that movie with the Coke bottle. 5. Filming with real wild animals. One of the things that gives the film its unique charm is the sense that everything you see on screen is real. And that's because, well, it was. The cast and crew filmed in the Kalahari Desert and surrounding areas, which meant dealing with actual wild animals. Lions, elephants, snakes, you name it, they were there. Some of the animal encounters in the film weren't staged at all. When you see characters reacting nervously around wildlife, That fear is completely genuine. The crew had to be cautious at all times. Unlike Hollywood sets where trained animals are carefully controlled, here they were working in the middle of nature. It gave the film an unpredictable, raw quality that you just don't get in polished studio productions. 6. An unexpected global hit. Nobody making The Gods Must Be Crazy thought it would become a worldwide hit. At best, they hoped it might do well in South Africa and a few neighboring countries. But when it was released internationally, it became a runaway success. The quirky humor, the universal story, and the breathtaking desert scenery all clicked with audiences. It raked in more than $200 million globally, making it one of the highest-grossing foreign films of all time. To put that in perspective, this tiny film from Southern Africa out-earned some major Hollywood releases of the same era. It proved that you didn't need big stars or cutting-edge effects to make people fall in love with a story. 7. The narration debate. If you've seen the film, you'll remember the narrator's calm, slightly cheeky voice guiding you through the story. Many audiences loved it. It gave the movie a documentary feel, almost like you were being told a bedtime story about another world. But not everyone agreed. Some critics argued that the narration simplified African cultures too much or presented stereotypes. The debate continues even today. Was it harmless storytelling, or did it unintentionally reinforce cliches? Either way, there's no denying that the narration gave the film its distinct flavor, making it stand out from anything else at the time. 8. The sequels and spin-offs. Success like this doesn't go unnoticed in the film industry. After the original movie, there were 2 official sequels, The Gods Must Be Crazy by 2 in 1989, and later, more obscure entries. But it didn't stop there. In Asia, filmmakers tried to cash in with unofficial spin-offs that borrowed the title and sometimes even the character of She. These films had little connection to the original, but they showed just how far the movie's influence reached. Still, for most fans, nothing compares to that first film. It had lightning in a bottle, pun intended, and the sequels never quite captured the same magic. 9. In Sao's Strange Reward. For starring in a movie that made hundreds of millions of dollars, you'd think In Sao walked away with a fortune. But reality was much different. For the first film, he was reportedly paid less than $2,000. That's shockingly low, even back then. Later, when the film became a sensation, the producers did pay him more, but In Sao admitted that he didn't really understand the value of paper money. Coming from a community where wealth was measured in cattle, food, and family, money was a strange, abstract concept. At one point, he let his earnings blow away in the wind because he didn't realize what he had. His story is a bittersweet reminder of the cultural gap between Hollywood profits and the people who make those profits possible. 10. A legacy that still lasts. More than 40 years later, The Gods Must Be Crazy still has a unique place in film history. It's often studied in film schools as an example of how creativity can overcome budget limitations. It's also remembered as one of the rare films that crossed cultural barriers so effortlessly, speaking to audiences everywhere without needing big names or flashy effects. For many viewers, it remains a time capsule of the 1980s when movies could surprise you, when stories could feel fresh, and when something as ordinary as a Coke bottle could become a symbol of innocence lost and found again. So there you have it. 10 behind-the-scenes secrets from The Gods Must Be Crazy. From its unlikely star to its wild encounters and record-breaking success, the story behind the movie is almost as crazy as the movie itself. And maybe that's why it still sticks with us today. It wasn't just a comedy. It was a reminder that the simplest ideas, told with heart, can change the world. So next time you watch that Coke bottle tumble from the sky, remember, behind every laugh, there's a story worth telling. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with fellow film lovers. Got a favorite behind-the-scenes moment or theory? Drop it in the comments. We're all ears. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep questioning what the gods might be crazy about.